Hello and welcome to episode 38 of the Made by Mumino podcast. My name is Catherine and this is my little corner of the internet to talk about all things yarny, any sort of fibre projects that I'm working on, that kind of thing. Mostly knitting. I don't crochet unfortunately, but I do a little bit of spinning and weaving, although I am an absolute beginner. So yes, welcome, a huge welcome to you if you are new here, and a very warm welcome back if you've sat and watched me rambling before. Yes, I'm filming today as usual in Mönchengladbach, which is a city over on the kind of the western side of Germany, over near the Dutch border, not too far from Düsseldorf. And also that reminds me, I had a really lovely shout out from another podcast, lovely Emily Knits. I'll put a link down below. She did a wonderful pronunciation of Mönchengladbach. It must have taken me about, at least a year to say it with confidence. Yeah, it's not the easiest place name to say, but yeah, go for it. Have confidence. So yes, I live here with my partner, and I've lived here for about 8 years now, I think. This is my permanent home. He was born in this area. So yeah, this is where I call home, and I have a little tiny apartment with him and all of our house plants, and an embarrassingly large yarn and fibre collection. But you know, what you gonna do? So I put all of the things that I talk about down below. Everything's linked, and if it's not, just tell me and I'll fix it. What else? I always put chapters in, so if there's a part that you're not interested in, feel free to skip over. And yeah. Oh, and a really, really quick reminder, the Made by Mumino Thrifty Mal, I'll put the hashtag down here. All of the details about how to join it are down below. Just a reminder that it's still going on. We've had loads of entries, I think upwards of 200 entries now. And it's just amazing, the creativity that people are showing. Every craft is welcome. Everything from, what have we had this year so far? Quilting, embroidery, I mean mostly knitting and crochet, but there have been other crafts and things as well. So yeah, everyone is welcome, and you can see how to enter down below. And it doesn't close until the end of September, so there's still plenty of time. Yes, I don't think there's any other, no, we can get into the knitting. So I'm wearing my chatty. This is by Zari Nordland, and yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. I wore it out, I think it was last weekend. Yes, we went to Roermond for the day and we took some photographs. My partner took some photographs of me, which is really kind of him. He's the most patient photographer. I really, really hate having my photo taken. It's different in this medium. You're constantly moving, and just don't do any freeze frames. If you do a freeze frame now, I guarantee I'll be making a really stupid face, but you know, that's fine. But it's just that really, it's so uncomfortable when you're stood in front of the camera and you've got to smile or make a pose or look off into the middle distance like some 1980s catalogue model. But no, my partner is incredibly patient and makes me relax. So yeah, it's really nice. Anyway, this is my chatty by Zari Nordland. Followed a pattern. I did go down a needle size, and I did omit the short rows because I didn't think it needed it. It's got a really wide neckline, so I felt that it didn't need it. If I remember, after I finish filming today, I'll go and take a little bit of a film of me wearing it, because you can't see the chaos here, but there is a nest of stuff to show you. Last week I had a bit of a knitting, I was in the doldrums a little bit craft-wise, but that's gone. Now I'm in a nest of cast-ons and yarn and stuff, so yeah, I'll take a little bit of film, and if I remember I'll put it up here. So yes, I made this to pattern, omitted the short rows. I think I knit the 5th size, and I got gauge with Noro Sonata, and this is the colour 18 in moss green, and this is a beautiful mix of viscose and silk and all sorts of things in there. It's a really light and nice fabric, even though it's quite squishy fabric. So I talked about this quite a lot in my last episode, but almost finished the second sleeve. I was so close to finishing, so I thought that I would wear it today so that you could see it in all its glory. And I'm really, really happy with it. I love the colour. I really love the colour. It's, yeah, and I love the fact that Sonata, the Noro yarn, is never just, it's homogenous. I know you want that sometimes. It's nice to have a uni-colour, but it's got that kind of hand-eye quality to it that I really, really like. So yeah, Sari Nordland's patterns are gorgeous. I've only knit a couple of them, but I would like to knit some more. She had that lovely book out last summer, I think it was, and I never got around to getting my hands on it. I am really attracted to nice books, as you can see behind me. I've got a fair collection. So yes, this is my Kutati. Really happy with it. Can definitely recommend the pattern. In terms of difficulty level, I would say as long as you're patient, slow, methodically follow the lace pattern, I think an adventurous beginner could definitely have a go at this. But as usual, all of my notes and so on are on Ravelry, so feel free to have a look over there, or email me, message me if you have any questions about it. So yeah, that is what I'm wearing today. I have a finished object to show you. They haven't been blocked, I'm afraid. Handbag socks. How cute are those? Oh gosh, my hair gets everywhere. Yes, so I tend to have a little sock project or a hat project, something like that, in my handbag for when I'm waiting at the dentist, doctors, traffic jams, buses, that kind of thing. And I've been working on this little pair of shorties. So in the summer I tend to do shorties. Full notes on how I make these are in one of my Ravelry projects. If you scroll down to sort of the first, I think, shorties that I made, I've got full instructions on that, but if you have trouble finding it, just message me down below and I'll put a link to it. In fact, I'll put a link to it anyway. I'll be helpful. So these are made from leftovers from Punk Rock Unicorn. I believe that the colourway, was it Firecracker, something like that? I can't remember, to be honest, and I didn't write it down, which was really foolish. But my partner had a lovely hat made of this same yarn, and I had a little bit left over, so I thought I'd make myself some shorties. And I believe that the toe and the heel are Lay Family yarn, but again, I couldn't tell you what colour that was. So yeah, just a little fun pair of shorties. I never bother blocking these, I just wear them. And yeah, I find them really comfortable. So it does get quite warm here in this part of Germany in the summer, occasionally up to sort of 40 degrees centigrade, but usually in the summer it's sort of high 20s, early 30s, something like that. And I find these quite comfortable to wear in trainers, in my little Birkenstock daps. And yeah, so I tend to wear these in the summer. So that is my only finished object to show you. But I have quite a few WIPs to show you today. The first of which is the Bramble Shawl, and I'll put a picture up here. So last time I showed you this, I think I'd just started the lace and I'd ripped back a little bit, but I've almost finished the lace section. Now when this is blocked, this is going to open up beautifully. But there's this gorgeous kind of, I suppose it's almost like a herringbone pattern, a zigzaggy pattern that goes up. And I'm making this in WE Yarn Company cast-on-itis because I had a skein of this left over from another project, a test knit that I did for Eleanor Mortensen earlier this year. This project calls for 4mm needles, which is a US 6. One day I might remember these. And one skein of lace weight yarn, and so I'm using this cast-on-itis. If I show it to you like that, this beautiful variegated yarn, absolutely stunning, and it's incredibly soft as well. And I did talk about this last week, so I won't talk about it too much. Last episode, sorry, so feel free to go and have a look at the last episode if you're interested as well. So yeah, I've almost finished it. So it starts with this nice simple stretchy garter section. You start from a little point, and then there's a little transition section to start the lace, and then the lace repeat, always increasing on one side, and then there's going to be a last lace section. Now there's opportunities to increase the size of the shawl here, so making the garter stitch section a bit longer, and also here to do extra repeats of the lace. And I might do an extra repeat of the lace. I've got plenty of yarn left over and I'm not far off finishing. So I think I probably will do just one extra repeat. I might as well. So the finished dimensions, that's the word, of the shawl should be about 150 centimetres by 75 centimetres, which is 59 by 30 inches. So not a small shawl, definitely a decent size. But yeah, might do one more repeat. I'll see how I feel about it. It's just really pretty, a really nice little project. And the designer, Simone, she is the Midnight Architect on Instagram. And she does these really pretty little patterns, and this popped up on my Instagram. And I was really tempted by it because I do like a little bit of lace. I'd almost finished this, so I thought I could do another little bit of lace. Yeah, keep my mind busy. So yeah, that's that. I think the deadline, I think it's the end of August, the end of this month. So I'll probably finish it this week, I imagine. Get that blocking and do some pictures. So yeah, really happy with that. It's really pretty. Also double happy because my favourite thing other than Moomins is puffins, and it's in my little puffin bag. How cute is that? This is made by a Scottish maker called Hodgeheg Creations, and I'm not sure if she's still making them. It hasn't been popping up on my Instagram very much recently. But yeah, super cute. I think I said this before, but I saw this on Amy Palco's podcast, and I love puffins. So I had to get myself one. So yeah, that's mine. So yes, that is my first WIP, and there's a couple more to show you. So after having said that I wouldn't do any more test knits for a little while, I'm doing another test knit. What can you do? I'm very deadline orientated, and I do enjoy a test knit. But anyway, I think it's a combination of the deadline, the shopping my stash, forcing me to shop my stash, forcing me to choose a project, and also even if I don't get super involved in the chats, whether it's on Instagram or Ravelry or whatever, I like being part of that group, and I like seeing what everyone else is doing. I think it really inspires my creativity. I find it when I go to my knitting group as well, that seeing what other people are working on, it just really inspires me, which is I suppose why people watch these podcasts as well. Because even if you don't like something that I'm making or whatever, it's still like, oh, I like that pattern, or that's interesting, or that reminds me of another pattern. So yeah, I think seeing what other people are doing is brilliant. But anyway, back to the test knit. So this is for Knitting for Breakfast again. I did a test knit for them earlier on this year, and all over colour work, and I loved it. Gorgeous. They do such pretty patterns. They're very soft and delicate and usually quite decorative, which I must admit, when I first started knitting, I thought I wouldn't really knit things like that. I started knitting when I was a really small child, but I mean, coming back to modern knitting and, you know, buying a proper set of knitting needles, that's when my proper knitting started. Yeah, I sort of was very drawn to the very plain and simple things, the very classic, elegant silhouettes. I still love those. However, my brain likes the more complicated patterns. I like following a chart. I like, you know, having to focus on what I'm doing. I find it really meditative, and if there's other stuff going on in my life that's not brilliant, it gives me something else to focus on. So yeah, I find that I'm really drawn to colour work, lace work, not so much cables, although I do have a hankering to do some cables at the moment. But this is a test knit for a colourwork yoke tee in mohair, and I've never knit a purely mohair garment before. I'll put a little picture of it up here. This is the Enjoy Flowers tee, and it comes in 11 sizes, so it's nice and size inclusive. It goes from a 76 to 171 centimetre bust, which is about 30 to about 67 inches. Excuse me, I need to cough. Yes, so it comes in 11 sizes, nice and size inclusive. I'm knitting, I think the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm knitting the 7th size in this, and I have about 120 centimetre bust, but mohair doesn't have any stretch to it. I normally try and have quite a fitted look when I'm making something, but I thought I'd go for something with a little bit more positive ease this time. So I'm knitting with an aim for getting about 10 centimetres of positive ease, which is the 7th size. And yeah, I will show you what I've done so far. Where is my yarn? Ah, there it is. My moomin bag. Excuse the rustling. Cute moomins. Right, I am making this in 2 different mohairs. This is from a lovely yarn dyer over on the Dutch coast. She doesn't make very much yarn, just a little bit here and there. And when I was last in Domburg, I think it was in February for our anniversary. Yes, sorry, where was I? Yes, so I picked up 2 50-gram skeins of this fluffy, gorgeous silk mohair. Isn't that beautiful? So that's a beautiful variegated mohair. And this is from Along avec Anna. Now, this is called pralines, but it's not her usual praline colourway. If you see really closely there, I don't know if that will focus if it's that close. The core of this silk mohair is a kind of a golden colour, which she doesn't normally do. So she was selling this off at Wonderwall in Wales earlier this year in big bags, and I loved it. I really like that that different coloured core on the inside there. So I'm using these. I'm not going to have quite enough of this, so I had a little bit of Vomit Velvet left over from another project. Where is that? And just for the first section, here it is. Just for the first section of the colour work, I'm holding these 2 together instead of holding together 2 of the pale ones, because you hold 2 of the mohair strands together throughout. So yeah, just for the first section, I'm holding those 2 together. And this is what is happening so far. It's so floofy. This is what's happening so far. I hope you can see this okay. Isn't that gorgeous? It's so fluffy. I've never made anything in just mohair before. I have to admit, I do have a slight sensitivity to mohair just here, so I think I'm going to have to wear it over a little t-shirt or something, but that's absolutely fine. The thrill of making something in all mohair like this is just, yeah, why not? It's a bit of fun, isn't it? So yeah, I'm going to stick to the pattern exactly on this, making the 7th size, I think it was. I've got gauge with US 7 4.5mm needles, and it's just a really simple pattern, starting off with a little collar there, the little rib, moving into the yoke, switching back and forth between the different colours, short sleeves, and then mixing the 2 colours for the body. There's nothing else to say really, is there? It's going to be delightful, I think. So if you haven't come across Knitting for Breakfast before, I believe that they are sisters from Italy, and as I said, they just make the most delightful, pretty patterns. So go and check them out. I've got another, I think it's called Belle Histoire, in my queue as well. I will make that one at some point too. They're just delightful patterns, really, really pretty. And as I said, not really what I pictured that I'd be knitting when I bought my first complete set of needles, but there we go. So that is that, and I don't think there's anything else to show you with that. The deadline is, I think it's the middle of September sometime. So yeah, a little while before that's out, but I'll let you know how I get on over the next week or so. So another WIP. I've got one more to show you after this, but I am making another Musselburgh for my partner. Oh, and the little stitch mark, as you can see, I'm wishing for autumn. I can't remember where I got that from. I think it was Etsy, a German seller probably on Etsy. Anyway, so whenever we go out and about, my partner and I go to yarn shops and things, bless him, he's very good at going on little day trips on the weekend to go and look at yarn. He usually picks out a skein for himself that he wants to be a hat. He has quite an array of Musselburghs in many, many, many colours. He tends to go for quite saturated colours. And this time he's gone for this. This is Linares, I think you say it. And it's their Barefoot range. And the colourway is called Rhinebeck. Shall I try and keep my thumb in there so I can take the label out to show you? Ooh, stuck on there. There we go. So there is the label. And the colourway, as I said, is called Rhinebeck. And it's just this really nice, very, very autumny, browny, reddy colour that I really like. So it's nice. I have a little backlog of various skeins of yarn that he's chosen. So I can go and look at them when I feel like casting on another hat for him. Think, what colour do I feel like? And at the moment, I'm wishing for autumn. So yes, this lives in my handbag. So whenever I'm waiting for a train, or I'm in the, I don't know, dentist surgery or something like that, waiting for my appointment, I've always got some knitting to do. Or yeah, so this lives in my handbag, and yeah, I just work on it quietly when I've got nothing else to do, but I want to keep my hands busy. So that is that. And I have one more WIP to show you. Okay, so this WIP is a new WIP. I started making a nook from my hand spun. So this is from woolen twine. I spun this up during Tour de Fleece. It's very chunky. Smells gorgeous, but it's very, very, very chunky. But I'm very new to spinning. I'm loving it, but I want to use what I'm spinning. I don't want it to sit there. Yeah, so I wanted to cast something on, and initially I cast on a nook by Jonna Helen, and it's gorgeous. I really, really want to make that pattern, but it just didn't really suit the yarn. The yarn is a little bit too chunky, a little bit too uneven, and it just wasn't really working. Also, I think that I probably wouldn't have had enough of the yarn, and I certainly didn't want to spin up anymore, otherwise it would end up like really heavy. So I changed tack, and I'm making the Annie from Jamie Dorfman. Now this is in a book, it's not available as a standalone pattern. I'll put it up here. And it's knitted flat. So as you can see here, I've got some garter stitch. So you start off casting on the bottom, and then work up in garter stitch, and then make the back and then the front, joining them together, and then seaming up the side, and it's working really, really nicely with the hand spun. The garter stitch is a little bit more forgiving for the unevenness of the yarn. I mean, you can still obviously see that it's hand spun, but I think it's charming, and I love that I'm going to be able to actually use this. It is a bit too thick. I have overspun it in a few areas, so a little slip over is definitely the best way forward for this, for me anyway, I think. Gosh, that sounded very corporate. Yeah, the best way forward. This comes in 9 sizes, and I'm kind of sticking to the pattern, sort of. I think it's meant for 7mm needles, but I've gone for a 5.5, I think, yeah, which is a US 9. So I'm going to have to fudge it around a bit, but as you saw from the picture, it's a really simple pattern. So I'll just keep knitting until it's the right size, and work out the decreases when I get there. So I'm not too worried about that. It's just a real pleasure to be able to use some of my hand spun, and I can really see me wearing this over, I don't know, a denim dress or one of my gingham dresses, something like that in the winter, just as a little extra layer. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with that, and yeah, hopefully I'll be able to use most of my hand spun. If this hadn't have worked, my other idea was to make the Aosta cushion by the Knit Pearl Girl, because I have that in my library as well. So I was thinking that could be the other option. So yeah, that is that. And while we're on the subject of spinning, I just finished another spin, which I wanted to show you. How cool is that? I put it onto the Niddy Noddy yesterday. And I found this, Instagram suggested I might like an account called Auspicious Stitches, and I definitely do. She is so open and very sort of accepting of new spinners, and she explains things really, really well. So if you're new to spinning, I definitely recommend that you have a look at her account. She doesn't gatekeep at all. It's brilliant. It's just so open and available, the information on how to do different things. Because it can be quite difficult when you're a new spinner, unless you pay for lots of classes and things, which I obviously definitely recommend you do that if you're able to. I taught myself. I had a lesson with a friend who's a spinner. She showed me the basics, and then I've been kind of working it out on my own. And it is a really steep learning curve. It is a bit daunting. So having access to demonstrative videos, things like that, where you can see how to do different things is so handy. So yeah, recommend Auspicious Stitches. I'll put a link down below. Yes, this is what I spun up yesterday, and two reasons I'm really chuffed with this. Firstly, what did I do with it? I bought this in a yarn show here in Germany earlier on this year, and it's from Steffi's Woll, and she's based in Austria, and this is a BFL mix, but it's got BFL, alpaca and soya silk in it, and it was lovely to spin. It's super soft, really, really nice, and it's 200 grams. On Auspicious Stitches, she said, so that you know how much yarn that you've made, put a piece of string around your Niddy Noddy and measure it. I don't know why I didn't think of that. It's such a good idea. So I did that yesterday, and it's 156 centimetres, and after I finished plying this, my partner watched me while I put it onto the Niddy Noddy, and he was counting, and we worked out I've got about 170 metres of yarn, which is just brilliant. So yeah, and this is my first ever chain ply, and I'm chuffed to bits with it, really chuffed to bits with it. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with it yet, probably a scarf or something, might put it on my loom, but I am chuffed to bits with that. So if you're interested in this, great. If not, I hope you've already skipped. But yeah, when you do a normal ply, you've got 2 or more bobbins, and you're putting them together at the same time onto your wheel, going the opposite direction to the direction that you did the initial spin. When you do a chain ply, you ply the yarn to itself from one bobbin, which for a colour changing yarn is perfect because you can kind of keep the colours in their groups, or if you haven't got a spare bobbin to ply onto or whatever, it's perfect. So I really wanted to learn how to chain ply, and it seemed really, really difficult, but having watched one of the Auspicious Stitches reels, I thought, do you know what, this doesn't look too hard, I'm going to go for it. And I did it. There was a bit of squealing and a bit of while I was doing it. But I did it. And I'm really happy with it. And I've got a beautiful rainbow skein of luscious, luscious yarn. Very happy with that. Yeah, these colours bring me a lot of joy. So that's what I've been working on spinning wise this week. The last thing to talk about is a little bit of weaving, so feel free to skip if this isn't your thing either. Okay, so I've got 2 finished weaving projects to show you. If Steffi or my mum are watching, please skip. I'll give you a couple of seconds to skip to the next part, because these are gifts for people. And I really want to show you before they go off to their intended homes, but I really don't want the recipients to see them. So Mum, Steffi, if you're watching, skip. So the first thing to show you is a scarf I have made for my friend Steffi. I'm so happy with this. This is a beautiful special skein of yarn that I got from Bad Katu. She's a dyer in the Netherlands. And this is Pastel Violet, 70% BFL, 20% silk and 10% cashmere. It's just a fingering weight, but it's so squishy and lovely. And it's come up beautifully in this. So I'm very, very happy with this. The other colours in it, this purple here is, I'm pretty sure this is leftovers from Lay Family yarn. And this one here is definitely leftovers of a Zauberbau that I used in another shawl of mine. And it's just a really long, pretty scarf. My friend Steffi loves purple. She loves everything purple. So I just had to do this. It's getting better. When you're when you're weaving something that's a little bit closer weaved like this, it's more difficult to get the edge perfect, I find. And my edge is not perfect at all. It's getting better, but I still need a lot more practice. So that's the first thing that I made. I'm really, really happy with that. So let's fold it nicely. So that's going to go off to Steffi for her birthday later this month. And then this is for my mum. I'm so happy with this. I've just taken it off the air now because I blocked it last night. This is a pashmina that I've made for my mum. How gorgeous is that? I'm so happy with this. It's really pretty. So the yarn that I've used is Tin Liner, and this is from Sandnes Garn, and where is it? So this is 53% cotton, 33% viscose, 14% linen, and the colourway is 4323, which is such a boring set of numbers for this delightful sorbet pink that's going into kind of a salmony colour. Isn't that just absolutely delightful? Really pretty, and it's got such a beautiful drape. I made this on quite a large reed, so it's quite an open weave. So as you can see there, it is quite open. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's really pretty. And this is, yeah, I think it's probably about 2.5 meters, 3 meters long, maybe, something like that. So it's a good size. I'm really looking forward to getting that sent off as soon as possible for my mum's birthday. I told her that I'm going to bring it with me when we go to visit them in September, so she'll have to wait for it, but I'm going to try and send it as soon as possible so that it's actually there for her birthday. So yeah, I really hope she skipped this bit so she doesn't see that, because it's a surprise. Okay, so that's the weaving over. Okay, the last thing to talk about, I think, is irresponsible purchases, and there have been a few this week. Last weekend, I think it was, I noticed on my Instagram a new shop in Düsseldorf, a new yarn shop came up, so I had to go and check it out. So I messaged the shop owner and asked if it was alright if I came and did some filming, and she said, yep, absolutely fine. I ended up going on a different day to the one I organised though, which was a bit rude, but my partner had to go to, so he was born here in Germany, but he's a Greek citizen. So if you want to do anything in Greece, you need to go to the embassy. You need to go to the embassy and do things like get power of attorney to sign paperwork in Greece. Oh, it's so complicated. So anyway, we were in Düsseldorf on Tuesday. So I took the opportunity to go and do a little tour of the new yarn shop there in Flingen. And there's a tour at the end of this video. There's also a little mini tour on Instagram as well. So go and check that out, or wait till the end. But anyway, irresponsible purchases. The shop is lovely. They have loads of Scandinavian yarn, some local yarn, you know, just it's really beautiful yarn. I'm so sorry, I keep coughing. They have yeah, loads of knitting for Olive, Izzy, Camerose. It was really difficult. They also have lots of notions that you might need from cocoa knits, beautiful bags, and it's a really nice shop and really, really welcoming. They've got a lovely big table there, so they look like they're going to be set up for doing knit nights and things, which is just wonderful. And it's just nice to have another option in the area of places to go to. And it was a good excuse for me to go and have a little day out and look at some beautiful yarn. But I didn't just buy yarn. I'll show you the yarn first. I bought 3 skeins of this. And this is dyed by the owner, Zandra's sister. And I bought 3 skeins of this. Isn't that lovely? I was thinking with some sort of light blue or sort of an icy blue variegated mohair, that would make a lovely little jumper. So this is just normal wool, non-superwash, 475 meters per 100 grams. Gosh, I keep coughing today. So is it on the thin side? It's really, really gorgeous. So I've got 3 skeins of this goodness. I'm not sure how much of this they'll produce. There were a couple of baskets on the floor with this base in there. Oh, and one thing I must mention actually in the video, if some of the shop shelves are looking a little bit on the empty side, that's purely because the shop had only just opened and they had been inundated, which is fantastic, with customers coming in and buying stock. So they told me when I was there they're just about to get new stock in, and I saw on Instagram they have done. So don't worry if the shelves are looking a little bit bare in a couple of areas. It's just because they had a really successful first week, which is great for them. So yeah, I got 3 skeins of this, but I also picked up this. Now I was wondering about buying this, but I wanted to have a little look through it first. And this is where I got the pattern from for the Annie slipover. But I picked this up when I was in the shop and just fell on a couple of the patterns that I thought, oh, they're gorgeous. I think scrappy projects, they don't have to look scrappy. They can look like a finished garment without looking sort of higgledy-piggledy. Look at that. It's gorgeous. This is the Camellia, I think, by Marina Storm. But I wanted to show you some socks that were in here. Where are they? They're at the back. But yeah, there are several patterns in here that I can definitely see myself making. Oh, where are they? I should have put some little markers in here. There's one of the pairs I wanted to show you. How cute is that? And this is just, and I've got scraps on my scraps on my scraps, so I've got plenty of materials to choose from. This really attracted me. Where's a good picture? I don't know how to say this. I think it's yay. But I really, really want to make this. Look at that. It's beautiful. I really, really, really want to make that. It's hexagons knitted from the outside in and then seamed together. I really, really want to make that. Yeah, so there's quite a few patterns in here that I would really, really, really like to make. My partner really liked the look of this one. Block Party. How nice is that? Yeah, I do like a nice book. What I sometimes do when I'm knitting from books to try and save them as much as possible is take a picture of the pattern that I'm working on. So I've got that on my iPad next to me or whatever, so I'm not sort of sat there with the open book. But because this book is so big, it sits open quite nicely. So yeah, 52 weeks of scrap yarn from Liner magazine. They do make these beautifully produced books. So I picked that up while I was there, and it was a bit of a lump to carry back on the train, but totally, totally worth it. And for me, it was perfect to get there because if you know Düsseldorf at all, it's about a 3-minute walk away from Flingen S-Bahn station. So it's really, really easy to get to, and it's also on an S-Bahn stop as well, so it's perfect. So yeah, if you're in the area, I definitely recommend going to check it out. It's a really nice shop, really welcoming, and also in that area there are lots of little independent cafes and other little sort of independent artisan type shops and things as well. So it's a nice place to go and have a mooch around if you have a spare afternoon. Yep, I don't think there's anything else to tell you about today. That is pretty much it. Other than to say thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate it. And as always, thank you so much for commenting on my video, that kind of thing. So I really appreciate it. And I do try and answer all of the comments, even if I'm a little bit late sometimes because life gets in the way. But yeah, thank you so much. And I wish you a really lovely day wherever you are. And happy crafting. Take care. Bye. Thank you.